there's a difference. There's motivation, there's inspiration, there's discipline. And I'll explain the difference between the three of those. And without experiencing anything like that, you're really at a loss for what is going to motivate you. And that will also come with discipline.
Welcome to Exploring Mind and Body with Drew Taddia. Drew is an expert in nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and more. And he wants to help you live a healthier, longer, and more active life. Now here's your host, Drew Taddia.
Welcome to another edition of nationally syndicated Exploring Mind and Body. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our True Form Life community. We're coming at you with a brand new show. We appreciate whether you're listening on terrestrial radio across the country or as a podcast around the world. We certainly wouldn't be here without you. So stick around. We got all that coming up.
This is Exploring Mind and Body. Naturally improve your lifestyle one show at a time with your host, Drew Taddia.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Hope you all had a fabulous weekend or an incredible week, whatever day of the week it is that you're listening to this. So we had a fantastic weekend of inspiration. So what we did is we signed up for a 5K. It was a 5K/10K run in LA Kings 5-10K. And I gotta tell you, it was really cool. So we got our race packages, and you go to some type of hockey center, and it was like open skating indoor for kids, and they had like the front office for the LA Kings, and it was actually really cool and a different experience, something that we haven't experienced before. So I wanted to share some of that with you today because I feel like a lot of people don't experience anything like that. And the problem with that is there's so many people that struggle with motivation, and you hear it all the time. I mean, personally, I don't think it's motivation. I'm going to talk about that here, but there's a difference. There's motivation, there's inspiration, there's discipline, and I'll explain the difference between the three of those. And without experiencing anything like that, you're really at a loss for what is going to motivate you, and that will also come with discipline. So at any rate, I'll tell you about us and how we were inspired this weekend, and how it might help inspire you as well. And then hopefully that will equal motivation based around discipline. And hopefully that helps you get on track to the direction you want to go. So you could be involved in a program and you may be struggling to see results, or you could be thinking about joining a program. Like at the time of this recording, it's September. So a lot of people really didn't do much over summer. That's just how it goes. And then everyone's like, oh, I'm going to start fresh in September. And it's almost 2 weeks into September, and most of those people haven't done anything. That's just the truth of the matter. That's how it goes. We've been doing this a very long time. We know exactly what happens. And then the problem here is those people that have started, it's been a couple weeks in, they've started. It's only going to be a couple more weeks, and that inspiration is gone. That trying to ride that motivation wave. And that's what, again, I'm going to talk about that here shortly, but motivation only offers a short amount of inspiration to help you see the results you're looking for. So we need to find a way to extend that and continue to be inspired, and that's through discipline. But for us, it was really cool. So, okay, you sign up. There's a step-by-step process of how this works. So sometimes people are like, oh, I'm not really motivated right now. What should I do? And I'm like, well, what are you looking forward to? What are you training for? What is in your near future that you can strive towards? What can you work towards? And most people say no. So then if I'm talking to, sometimes I'm talking to our MAP clients, and I say, all right, well, let's look at something that might be a good fit. Do you want to try a run walk? And some people don't, some people do. But here's the thing is that anyone can do that. Like anyone can do a run walk. You don't have to run the whole thing. You don't have to go for a time. You don't have to compete against anyone. You can go with groups of friends. You can do a fun run, you could dress up for Halloween. There's dozens of things that you could do, but we have that limiting mindset and then we think of excuses, right? Like, oh, I'm not in shape to run. Okay, walk. Oh, that time's not going to work for me. Find a different time. There's enough solutions if you're willing to find them. The problem is most people just don't want to do it. So then they find excuses. And the problem with not wanting to do something like that is you miss out on that inspiring part that I want to share with you. So the thing is that if you're not around inspiration on a regular basis, you're not going to be inspired. So if you're continually around people that are less than motivating, and the biggest problem here is that could be work. Like it could be work, and you could be, the only time you talk to someone could be in the morning before work, right? And what if they just dump all their trash on you from the past weekend, and then you're stuck with it, right? So you're not necessarily a doormat, but it's very similar, because you allow people to come into your life and dump all their nonsense or their struggles on top of you, and then you got to wear that. You have to handle all that stress and pressure. And I'm not saying don't listen to people or don't be that sounding board or don't offer your opinion, but if you are continually somebody's garbage can to dump all of their trash on top of you, then it's no different than being a doormat. So let's say you are at work early in the day, someone comes in and they had a horrible weekend, they dump all that on top of you. Then you go through your morning tasks, you get some work done, and then what happens in the staff room? Your staff room is filled with junk food. You have more negative people there. Everyone's complaining about how miserable their morning was. And there you are, marinating in that environment of, no better word than I can think of than nonsense. So for you to be involved in that environment, that is the exact opposite of what I'm talking about when being inspired. It's just, and then we deal with the same thing. Maybe you go through the rest of your workday, and then afterwards, I mean, it could be wings and drinks, like alcoholic beverages, and maybe that's a good place to let loose. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't call that a positive environment either, because you want to be involved in places that are uplifting and like not a dark, dingy pub, right? Like I've been there. You don't want to be in places where you have less than positive thoughts or inspiration, right? Like alcohol, it's a suppressant, right? Or you suppose you can call it a depressant. Highly processed food, sugar, like that kind of stuff is not uplifting. And you may get a short instant gratification or some endorphins flowing for a short amount of time, but the aftermath it's toxic. It's not going to take you closer to any goals, and it's certainly not going to inspire you. So for us, for example, we have our group, a number of our MAP program members are going to meet at a Halloween run at the end of October. And the reason we did that is because we wanted to offer more inspiration. And it's not just that, it's the environment that I'm talking about. Some people have never been to a run before. Like they've never volunteered, they haven't been to cheer someone on, they haven't run themselves, and that's okay. And I'm not trying to sell you on a run in particular. I'm just trying to explain the difference between dark, dreary, dingy, negative atmosphere, and then a positive, uplifting one. So you have people that are doing things people that have lost 100 pounds. Some people lost 25 pounds. And then you hear about them. You hear about these stories. It could be the announcer. It could be good to be people talking within the crowd. And then there's people cheering other people on. There's clapping. There's positivity. And it's uplifting. And that's where that inspiration comes from. And that's what we lack when it comes to motivation. We lack that motivation because we're not surrounded by something like that on a regular basis. Like that's why it's important for us. We tell our clients, hey, go in on Friday and celebrate your wins. On the group, we have a post that says, let's celebrate your wins. What do you want to share this week? And it's surprising how challenging that is to get people to go and do that, because we don't, like, our minds just naturally want to go to the negative. And what we try to do with our clients is train their minds around positivity and abundance. And that's, like, for me, that's a non-negotiable. Like, you should go there every Friday and look forward to celebrating one thing that went well that week. That could be your family, that could be fitness, nutrition, it could be business. It doesn't matter what it is, but our minds just continually go to what doesn't work out for us. It's like, what's all the things, like our minds go crazy, right? Like mine does too. But it's over the years, I've been able to pull it back and take it towards positivity. And that's usually starts with gratitude, what you're grateful for. And then you think of more things that are more positive and more uplifting. So if you're on a group and you find a supportive community and you participate in that community, it doesn't do you any good if you're involved but you don't do anything, right? Because the more you're involved, the more of a part of it you feel like you are, right? I feel like it's super important to go and put yourself in that environment. And the only reason I can think of why you wouldn't want to be in that environment is because you want to be in that place. Like the place that we're in this life, we want to be there in some reason or another. And I feel like we have to dig deep to find out why we feel that we need to be there. And what's preventing us from taking action, or what is the inaction that is causing us to stay away from that positivity? We need to change those thoughts and words and actions to take ourselves closer to what we're looking for, right? If you want to be in a negative frame of mind, and you want to be a victim and the world is against you, then that's where you're going to be, and you're going to find those pockets to make that happen, to make that your truth until you're ready to change that. And some people never change that, to be honest with you. So that's why it's so important to get involved in that supportive community. But that's the same thing as like the run, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. Like, you go to a run to be inspired. And that's why I'm sharing this with you today, because it wasn't like we went out there. So you go and you pay, right? So you pay, and that's the same thing like with our MAP program, for example. We have a conversation and you financially commit. And you'll see that across the board. Like, when you hear people like, oh, why? Well, how come you stopped running? Oh, I stopped running because I didn't sign up for another race. So when we're working with individuals and they enjoy running and they like to go to those types of runs, we say, okay, you're going to do that 5K. What's the next one you're going to do after that? Because those people in particular know that they need to sign up for something next, because there's a deadline and there's a financial commitment. And that's what we lack in most cases. We're looking for free workouts on YouTube. Netflix has some free workouts, not like fantastic, but they don't work long term. If they did, everyone would be fit and healthy. There's unlimited amounts of workouts. It's the accountability, and it's a leader. Like, you need a mentor, someone that you'll actually follow, and then you need the environment. That's what you need to see results. So if you look at that run, for example, you have your deadline and you're financially invested, which means you're now emotionally invested. And now you have a timeline that you're working towards. So you put in a little bit of extra effort, because the closer you get to that time frame, the less time you have. Right. So there's a urgency factor that's important as well. So that's why you see people that do quite well when you have dates set in front of them. And then there's people that never set dates, but those types of people don't usually, like, if you never set a date or a deadline for something that you want to achieve, you're not going to achieve as much as you would if there were deadlines or dates. But then, so we go pick up our race packages. You do that the night before, and then you have an atmosphere. You already have a community of people that are like, hey, they should be upbeat. We went to one run recently in Calgary, and it was like so unmotivating, because the people were like blah. Like, I have no idea why they were there. They shouldn't have been there, in my opinion. But this one here, that people were upbeat and excited, like, hey, thanks so much for being here. We're excited to see you tomorrow. Like, that's what you're looking for in people. But we know how challenging it is to manage the staff, so we'll take it easy on them. And then there's the day of the run, and you're thinking about it, right? So you're thinking about, I actually went. I'm not like a huge runner. Dorothy does the running. I like to run to get out and to get active, to get some fresh air, and to be in shape. Like, it's the actual running thing. It's not enjoyable to me, but I like the benefits of running. And then you look at these runs, for example. So many of you are in the same position I am. Like, not really, like, don't want to run, not a runner. Doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. You go to those events for different reasons than you think. So for us, we showed up at the event, and they had a stage. They had it was a LA Kings, like the hockey team, LA Kings run. So they had a bunch of those professional hockey players there. They had their mascot there, and they had music going, and that's where your inspiration comes from, right? If you're in a private supportive program that you committed to and you signed up for, you should be proud of yourself. That's why I tell our people, like, don't hide it. Like, that's the worst thing that you can do. You don't want to hide what you're doing, because it makes it that much more challenging, because you're not just hiding it from your possible spouse or your kids. You're hiding it from yourself. You're not saying, hey, I've done this. I'm proud of what I did. Like, what you've accomplished is a lot of people will never sign up for a program. They're not going to financially commit. They're not going to sign up, which means they're never going to put in any effort in. They'll probably dabble, try a few things, grab some workouts or some nutrition online, try some recipes, and that's it. And then they'll say, I tried everything. Right? And I'm like, in this fitness group I'm a part of, there's over 100 people, and everyone offers something a bit different. Like, for us, I was talking to this one lady, and she's like, I was telling her a bit about what we did. She's like, oh yeah, I heard about those programs. She's like, you just do nutrition and fitness, right? She's like, yeah, I've tried those. And I'm like, whoa. I feel like that mindset is a limiting mindset, and you're just looking for a reason why other things don't work, right? Like, for us, for example, I dealt with lower back pain, and a lot of people deal with lower back pain. So I built out a lower back pain program for strengthening mobility, so flexibility, and reducing pain. And that's what I did to heal myself. And I was in a really bad state. I was on medication. I slept days. I was depressed. I was miserable. It was easily one of the most challenging times of my life because I'm supposed to be a healthy, active person, right? Well, I could hardly walk across the room without being in excruciating pain. At any rate, I got myself out of that and I built a program around that. So if our clients say I'm dealing with lower back pain, okay, they have their regular structure of workouts and customized meal plan, but they also get their lower back. I also add in a lower back pain part of their program. So on a couple days, they're usually their off days. If they're working out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then they have stretching on Tuesday and Thursday to strengthen lower back pain. And back pain in particular, that's a tough one because I don't feel that ever really goes away. Like if you dealt with extreme back pain, I don't think it goes away, to be honest with you. I feel like if you want it to go away, you have to continually do things to keep it away. That's my opinion, because we've had a couple of clients just recently, same deal. They had some really bad back pain. Every once in a while, they throw their back out, right? And I say, well, what have you done? Like, what do you do regularly to make sure that doesn't happen? Nothing. Like most people do nothing, right? So then you always get these episodes that come out of nowhere. So that's why we add in the lower back pain. And the same thing with running. Like I told you that we have some people, some of our clients or members running with us. And at the end, so we have a handful of people that are going to do the Halloween run with us. We're going to dress up. We're going to have fun. We're going to go run, walk. We'll show up together, take some pictures. Everyone's going to go at their own pace, and then we'll meet after. And so you got to have that mindset of, is it self-sabotage? I'm not good enough. I don't want to dress up. I don't like runs. I can't run. I'm going to hold everyone back. That's all self-sabotage that we all go through on a regular basis. Or can you push those thoughts to the side and show up? And it's not just showing up for yourself or it's not showing up for the group or the community, which is nice. It's not showing up to be a part of the inspiration, which is great. It's showing up for yourself because you make that clear decision. I'm worth it to be here, and I'm going to continually take steps forward instead of having that mindset of backwards mindset of what the reason that you are overweight, have less energy, lack inspiration, or you put yourself in that place of inspiration. But it was the same thing, but it's that limiting mindset I was talking about, right? Of like, oh, all programs are the same, none of them work. That's the same thing as people saying, oh, I've tried everything. It's in your lifetime, you'll never try everything out there. There's not enough time. If you give, like with a program, minimum of 3 months, I don't even think 3 months is scratching the surface. 6 months, probably minimum, but really a year. So if you dedicate a year to a program, which seems like a lot to a lot of people, like a long time, that only seems like a long time to a lot of people because you're used to committing for 3 weeks, right? If you join a program and give it a real chance, you join that program for a year, I don't see how you wouldn't see results. I couldn't imagine. Even if it's the worst program around, if you have someone that's helping you out, someone that you can talk to, someone that's working with you through nutrition or fitness, if that's the worst program around, that's still better than, unless they're doing some crazy stuff like toxic or it's miserable or like toxic products or it's, you know what I'm talking about a real program, not one of those programs where you have 2 packaged meals and a shake. Like that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about having someone that will help you work out and offer real nutrition around food. Like there's no way you cannot see results in a situation like that if you stick with it. And the problem is we try something for a couple weeks and say, or one time and say, well, it doesn't work. Tried everything. It's not for me. So I think that's just a very limiting mindset. So I talked about, so for us that we threw in I wanted to mention the running. So for example, some people like, I'd like to run. I'm feeling inspired. Like someone said, I want to do a 5K. I want to do a 10K. We've had people that want to do half marathons. It doesn't have to be running, just giving you an example. But within our program, Dorothy builds out a running program for our clients. On top of that, she's been doing marathons, half marathons, 10Ks, 5Ks for probably 10 years now. So she makes programs for herself, and now she makes programs for our clients. So I think that if you are looking for something and you feel like nothing works, all that's telling me is that your mindset is limited for you to see results. And you know what the truth is? That some people aren't ready for results. And we have these conversations all the time. Like sometimes people are like, oh, what's the price? And I'm like, what do you mean what's the price? You don't even know what's in the program, right? Like don't you want to know if it works, first of all? And then don't you want to know what's involved in the program before price? So what if I say it's $10,000? What are you comparing that to? You're comparing that to the $50 a month that you're going to go to the gym and just have a gym membership, because that's what a lot of people compare it to that are just want the price. But you should know what it's about before you're like, oh, just tell me the price, and then we'll decide from there, because we may not have what you're looking for. If some people come to us and they're like, oh, it's okay, they say, what's the price? And I tell them, great, let's move forward. And then they're like, okay, where's my keto meal plan? And I'm like, we don't do keto. Then that price is irrelevant, right? You have to decide what it is you want first, and then we have a conversation. Some people don't want to have a conversation, so then I can't tell you what we're gonna do, if we can help. And I actually put up this post on my personal page, because I said, who wants a free 7-day meal plan with a grocery list? Like, I'll send that out to anyone. And so a bunch of people commented, and then I thought there was probably there could have been like 50 people that commented, I'll take that. And then I thought to myself, what if I make one generic meal plan for 50 people and send it out to all of them? How many people are going to benefit from that? Because some people want keto, some people want plant-based, some people want 100% vegan, some people want high protein. So for me to sit there and send, or even pay our assistant to do that, to send out the same meal plan to everyone, is a waste of time to the people that aren't going to use it. And the people that want something completely different, for me to send them to open it, look through it, even try a couple things, it's a waste of time. So I said, why don't I have a conversation with these people, every one of them? Hey, how you doing? How are things going? Crazy, right? Most of us aren't used to conversations. We're used to thumbs up, which is why I can't stand them. It's not a conversation. It's not even a response. We're used to like one-word text or thumbs up, which isn't what I'm looking for. If you really want help, like if you really want a meal plan that's going to work for you, even short term, if it's going to be of any benefit at all, then you need to have some type of conversation so we know exactly what it is that you want. So if anyone is listening here that raised their hand from that post, that's what's going to happen. I'm going to have a conversation with each one of you, see exactly what it is that you want. And I want to make something awesome. Like, how cool would it be if it was like, okay, this is awesome. It's not generic. It's not something that I'm never going to look at again. We're going to take some time. We're going to put something cool together for you, and it's going to offer benefits. I think that would be way beneficial for you as the recipient. And for me, it's not going to waste your time or our time sending a bunch of generic meal plans out that no one's going to use anyways. So hopefully that's going to be helpful for you moving forward. So, but that's the whole thing of I was talking about runs in particular, but it doesn't have to be runs, but it's the entire atmosphere, right? You have to put yourself in that atmosphere. If it's not a run, it could be a fitness competition, right? And it may not be you on stage. It could be you cheering someone on, or it could be you volunteering in a situation like that. So you have a bunch of people that are working towards a goal. They're all happy, inspired, excited to get on stage and show all their hard work. That's a fitness competition. So even if you go and sit in the stands and you buy a ticket or you go for free, whatever it is, that's going to offer you some inspiration. But here's my thing, is that it's not entirely based on inspiration or a lack of motivation. Sorry, it's often a lack of inspiration. I don't feel like it's a lack of motivation. The lack of motivation is really a lack of discipline. And the reason we're not disciplined is because we don't have a strong enough why. I feel like I should have mentioned this earlier, because it's super important for you to see the results you're looking for. Like, why is it that you are in the situation you're in? Why is it that you're not taking action every single day to see results that you're looking for? And it's because we don't have a strong enough why of what that's going to offer us in life. So it could be freedom. Like, a lot of times I talk to people and they're like, I said, tell me what's going on. And they say, or what would a program offer you? And a lot of people say freedom. They say, it'll offer me freedom from feeling trapped in my body, from not being restricted with the clothes that I'm wearing. Keeping the lights off so your spouse doesn't see you when naked or with less clothing. Like, that's a real thing. A lot of ladies talk about that often. And with that, without having that strong enough why and hanging on to it tightly, we miss out on all the benefits that has to offer. So maybe it's what you're wearing. Like, maybe it's lingerie you want to wear. or maybe you want to feel more attractive. That's perfectly okay, but we have to hold on to that, right? I'll give you an example for me. Like I was in really bad shape. I told you before, just recently, I was in really bad shape with my back. My biggest fear was I wouldn't be able to hold my child. My wife, Dorothy, was pregnant at the time. I wouldn't be able to help her out. So I wouldn't be able to, fulfill my duties as a father or husband. And like I held on to those so deeply. Like those were my greatest fears. And so what I did is I worked on my lower back program myself, like the one I designed, which I told you about. I did an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening. That's 2 hours a day. And a lot of people won't commit to 30 minutes 2 or 3 times a week for a workout because your why isn't strong enough. So I went to all kinds of practitioners, everything you can think of. Nothing really helped until I dedicated myself to those hours and committing that nothing's going to get in my way to make that happen. And that's ingrained so deeply. Like most of the days I still do those lower back exercises, like most days. And that's been a couple of years. I probably haven't had any lower back pain and it wasn't just lower back pain, it was sciatica, ran down my leg. A couple of my toes were numb. So I put my feet in race and I exercise my toes. Like I'm back to 100%. It's very rare. The odd day I get a little bit of leg pain, but it's like it's nothing compared to what it was, and I hardly even notice it. But that's what I'm talking about, is like for you, it needs to be something that's going to anchor you. It's going to need to push you past challenging days, because we all have challenging days, and it's going to need to get you back on board. And if you need someone to talk about that, we're more than happy to go over that with you and have a discussion. But it's the same thing I talk about when we have conversations. Like it's basically a pre-application before we get people onboarded to our MAP program to see if they're a good fit. Like, are you going to have conversations? Some people don't want to have conversations with me. They're just like, oh, what's the price? Or can you tell me what's involved? And I'm like, well, what's involved is you have a conversation with me first to see if you're a good fit. And some people don't answer that. And they, okay, awesome. That answers their question, that you're not ready for it. And then we sometimes dig deep and I ask more and more questions. And then some people say, you know what? I'm not ready for that. And I say that's a great realization. So that means you're not ready for results. So when people are ready for results and we have conversations, then we onboard them, and not before that, before we get them set up for a program, because we want them to see amazing results. And if you just want to join a program and not put any work in, then our program isn't for you. Which is fine. There's a bunch of other programs out there that cookie cutter programs that don't require a lot of effort, which unfortunately offers very minimal results, but at least you're doing something, right? So at any rate, I'm going to wrap things up there. So it's not so much motivation, it is a lack of discipline, right? And that discipline is because we don't have a strong enough why. And we don't have a strong enough why is because we probably don't want to have those conversations that are going to bring us to a realization that we're in our own situation because of our own actions or inactions, which means we're 100% accountable. And most people don't want to be accountable to the situation they're in life. It's a victim, right? It's everybody else's fault. So that's something to think about. And then we look at the inspiration. You need to surround yourself with inspired people. That's it. There's no other way around it. If you're always sitting at home, hiding in the dark, doing your own thing, don't want to participate, don't want to join a supportive group, you don't want to go to a run or a competition or something, whether it's volunteering, walking, being a part of that, it's going to be very difficult to pull yourself out of wherever you may be and see the results that you're looking for. So hopefully that was helpful. If you guys have any questions about that at all, let me know. I'll be happy to talk a bit more. So have a great day, and we'll catch you soon. Bye, everyone.
True Form Life.
All right, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Exploring Mind and Body. Once again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our True Form Life community. You can always find us on Facebook.com/TrueFormLife. We post up there a couple times a day on our story. We're always trying to bring you more content around living a healthy lifestyle, whether that be nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and more. We also have free challenges that we do at least once a month. So if you follow us along there, you'll be able to join maybe a plank challenge or a squat challenge, Tabata challenge, challenge, whatever it may be. We'd love to have you join us. We're also on Instagram.com/Drew Taddia. Again, we're posting up there a couple times a day along with our story, all dedicated to keeping you fit and healthy and on track. Our main website is trueformlife.com. If you want to check out some of our products, some of our services, or if you just want some great content from videos to blog posts and recipes and more, we got all that at trueformlife.com. Once again, thank you so much for being here. That's it. That's all I got. I'm out of here. As always, I'm your host, Drew Taddia, in health and fitness for a better world. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Exploring Mind and Body with Trueform Life's Drew Taddia, fitness expert. To find out more about the show, Drew Taddia, or to listen to past shows, visit exploringmindandbody.com.